This video is about all the rare chivalries and passives. Which are the best ones? What should you use those memory stones on? What should you use your talismans on for those passives? We want to make sure that we set our account up to be the best possible, and we don't have as many talismans as we want. We don't have as many memory stones as we would like, although we do get a lot in the very beginning. We get a whole bunch of memory stones to be able to level up any rare we want to Chivalry 8, and then we get quite a few more as long as you're doing story, you're doing adventure mode. This video is sponsored by Marvel Strike Force, a thrilling squad-based RPG where you build epic Marvel teams to battle iconic enemies. New players can unlock up to 17 characters in the first 30 days, including Spider-Man, Deadpool, Thor, and more. Marvel Strike Force is a free mobile squad RPG that allows you to battle with your favorite team of superheroes and supervillains in a fight to save the universe from threats like Doctor Doom and Apocalypse. Your goal is to power your favorite characters, complete missions, unlock gear and other resources, and beat other players in PvP modes such as Alliance Wars and Arena Battles. New characters are constantly being released this month. Be on the lookout for the highly anticipated Absolute A-Force team. This team will be led by Kahori, a brand new character. You don't want to miss out on these limited time character releases events during this month. You can also unlock characters and costumes from Marvel movies, TV shows, and comics. Now's the best time to download. To help you start your journey, you can use this limited time promo code DEC24 to unlock Captain Carter and Strange Heartless for free. Use my link in the description down below or scan the QR code to download the game today and get all these new player rewards. Do it today. I do have a spreadsheet with all this information. It will be down below. On my list, I've got them set up kind of in order of importance from top to bottom, but inside the game right now, we're just gonna start with Cormac. Cormac does not need any chivalry to be extremely strong, but this is only played with the Frost Relic. If you don't have Cormac's Frost Relic, don't worry about playing him. It's all about that skill 3 in the Frost Relic, which makes him so powerful. If you are manning him as your main DPS, yes, put chivalries into him to make him stronger, because all this stuff does make him stronger, but nothing changes how strong he really is on that skill 3. So none of them are mandatory. You don't have to put anything into him. All you have to do is have that Frost Relic and you're good to go. Try to get skills into that skill 3 with skill books for that Frost Relic and you will just obliterate everything. Using him as your main DPS, I would max out this first passive. The second passive, I wouldn't even worry about. You don't get a lot of heal from this. It's not that often anyways to really make a difference. You can do one like I've done, but don't worry about that 1% additional defense. If you're gonna main Rosier and you're gonna use her for dots and for damage, you definitely want that Chivalry 8, but that's only if you have her Frost or Flame Relic. I got her Frost Relic on my free-to-play account. That way I could alternate from her Storm Relic to her Frost Relic whenever I needed to. I used the Frost Relic mostly on Gorgos and the Dragon, and then any other content to where Frost isn't favorable for us, I will go back to the Wind Relic, and I'm waiting for the Flame Relic to show up in the Shard Shop. So only use Rosier if you have the Frost or Flame Relic. Then it's worth it. Take her to C8, let her be your main DPS on your starting account like I've done on my free-to-play account, and she is awesome. As far as passives go, we don't have to mess with this first passive at all. Don't worry about doing any skills there. Second passive, it's nice to get one hit into this. That way, if you're not able to do her skill 3, if you don't have enough vigor, then we can just come in and do skill 1 and still activate, putting up an additional bleed. And if there's bleeds there, we can extend all the dots. I've got a video on this. Go check out the video on how strong Rosier can be. And it doesn't have to be her Flame Relic. As long as you have Frost, that will work as well. Kay is amazing as your main damage dealer. We get her for free. We're going to use her skill 2 over and over. And if you're using her everywhere, yes, go ahead and Chivalry 8 her, or at least go up to Chivalry 6. Get that 10% additional attack. You could really go to Chivalry 5 if you want to. There's some little small nice additions, but really it's all about these added stats. And if you wanted to go to Chivalry 8, you could, because she does get some nice turn meter increase to where she can take additional turns. If you're using Kay as your main damage dealer, definitely max out this first passive. The second passive does not need to be maxed. This will not change anything for her. Bon is fantastic as your main DPS, but you cannot use him unless you have Chivalry 3. You get 100% additional critical damage here with Chivalry 3, and then I would go to Chivalry 4 because this will save your ass. Every time my Bon gets down low, once per battle, yes, but you get this huge spike in HP and health, and it saves him, and you're able to continue to do damage. Bon is extremely fast. He gives himself some amazing buffs. Once you're at Chivalry 4, you don't have to go any further. The Chivalry 8 only gives you 20% additional critical damage. It's not something you have to rush to. You might want to get these additional damage increases, yes, but it's not something you need to go out there and waste your resources. Get to Chivalry 3 and then try to get that Chivalry 4. His passives you do want. These are pretty good passives. Increased defense that's rolling. We can have this increased defense up twice on him, and then we can have this increased speed on him. All of his abilities increase his damage with speed, so this speed buff is making you attack more often and increasing the damage you do. So it's really nice to get these two passives maxed. Baldwin is one of two people that can stop Crom from eating your whole entire team. He's the big worm, the master of apocalypse that comes in and eats everybody and leaves one hero left to fight and do as much damage as you can to spit everybody back out. Baldwin with Chivalry 3 will allow you to have two people out instead of one. If you do his second passive, you're able to have three people out. So this is really strong. Second passive is a must, and the third Chivalry is a must. That's if you don't have the legendary hero Guinevere and you're going to use this guy in Crom. Outside of Crom, I wouldn't worry about it. And if you have Guinevere, then you really don't need to worry about Baldwin at all. Just use Guinevere every time you go and fight Crom. Ardwin is my favorite fae, but I wouldn't put any resources into her until mid to late game. I use her on my free-to-play account right now. She's level 50. I use her to go through the Forbidden Dungeon. So I do put resources, but I'm talking about the passive and the Chivalry. Don't do anything with those unless you can get her skill 2 maxed out. Once that happens, get the skill 2 maxed out here for Flame or for Storm if you want to, and you're going to do double the attack that you do. I have a video on this. You can go watch how amazing she is. And then if you get her Chivalry 8, anytime she counterattacks with this skill too. So rushing and getting her Chivalry 8 at the very start of the game isn't going to be worth it. You're not going to have the counterattack gear that you need. You're not going to have the teams that you need. And she works fine going through the Forbidden Dungeon, going through story mode. So powerful in story mode at level 50, rabbiting all those really hard enemies to get through, to push in hard, to push in hell. But you don't need to use any resources in her Chivalry or her passives. Actually, her passives, I wouldn't level up at all. There's no reason to level these passives, and you don't do the Chivalry unless you max out that skill too. Then it's strong because she's hitting so many times, doing a lot of damage, more rabbits with this skill too, because instead of 3 hits, it's 6 hits. It's a lot of damn damage. It's like 720% of attack, and she can take your whole team through the Forbidden Dungeon and all those other areas to where you need to crowd control people and do a lot of damage doing this. Plus, you put her in a 2-piece counterattack set or bring her with other people that can apply counterattack, and she'll just fire off. When she's hit and fires back with that ability, this little moth and Sarah are two of my favorite healers in the whole entire game. This girl is amazing. So many buffs, and you get her for free on day 1. If you can get her Frost Relic, you're going to use that anytime you go up against Gorgos or the first dragon, and just do the skill 3 over and over. Amazing heals. And then with this Storm one, I use it nonstop again for these heals along with amazing buffs. Effect resistance along with increased speed. And then if I don't have enough vigor, then I'll do the skill 2 to get the recovery over time, effect accuracy, and increased defense. This increased defense doubles up. You can have 2 buffs on of the same buff, and it's massive the amount of damage that you mitigate. So I love playing her. I think she's one of the strongest healers there are. I use her on my free-to-play. I use her on my main account all the time. As far as Chivalries go, though, we don't need anything special with her. Day 1, I used Memory Stones to increase her first Chivalry. I could have waited till I got additional copies, and there are a lot of stages that are actually night, and I was using her skill 3 so much that I really didn't have to worry about getting this effect on the skill 2. But it's nice to have. We get a lot of Memory Stones when we first start playing, and she's so good. These buffs are just too good to pass up with the skill 3, with the skill 2, and then if you can't get her Frost, like I said, use that Frost when you're going up against those flame enemies. It's a massive heal. I really love what she can do. The passives, do not worry about. Don't waste your talismans on these passives, and don't worry about any of these other chivalries. None of these chivalries are going to make a difference with her. They're going to increase it, yes, better healing, recovery over time here when we're afflicted with a debuff. They're all great little things, but they're not massive changes to her. So no rush to go out and do this. If you get additional copies though, yeah, put them into her for sure. Sarah to me is on par with her. We don't need any chivalries with Sarah. Nothing's going to really change how amazing she is and how I play her. Chivalries we don't have to worry about. If you get additional copies, definitely put them into her because you're going to be using her from beginning all the way to end, and try to get this second passive maxed out. It's so amazing to be able to fight that first dragon and never have to worry about applying marks. Never have to worry about the dragon getting up buffs. And I've got a video on this as well. It's all in the spreadsheet down below. Really don't play Clementine at all, but there are a lot of people that swear by her, and I can understand why. Knocking back the attack gauge, getting additional healing here on that passive that also knocks back the attack gauge. So if you're going to play her as your main healer, go to Chivalry 4. So we get this big heal based off of 10% of her max HP, tied to the smile ability, made you smile, to where we knock back the attack gauge. So Chivalry 4, I don't like her Chivalry 8. If she's your main healer, this will mess you up. So don't go past Chivalry 7 if you're using her as your main healer. If you're going to play her at late game with very special teams to knock back the attack gauge, then you can go to Chivalry 8. I actually wish I could take her back to Chivalry 7, and then I might actually play her more. You do want to get this first passive maxed out. This is the one that's tied in to those chivalries to give you that additional healing and to knock back the enemy's attack gauge. Don't worry about this second passive at all unless you're going to go for that Chivalry 8 and try to knock back that attack gauge and play her totally different, because she will be asleep most of the time, unless you're going to bring her in with Guinevere and do some other different teams, but that's a totally different story. Those are the main ones. Let's wrap all this up. You can come down to the spreadsheet below. You can see Rosier, Kay, Cormac, Bond, all the ones we just talked about. And then we've got Arthur. Arthur, if you're going to use him as your main DPS, it's only going to be with a Storm Relic. And then at that point, you could go from 4 to 8 for Chivalry if you were really utilizing him. But I would not do that. Arthur is not good in the beginning. He's only good at late game, and that's if you get this skill maxed out. His skill 3 on a Storm Relic maxed out, and then you're facing off against Frost enemies. I just don't feel like it's worth it, but if you're gonna do that, here's all the information for Arthur. Now I've got Niklaus, Urians, Isolde, Ralph, Gareth, and Boris down here at the bottom. We just don't use these heroes. I've leveled all these heroes. I've got the option to use them as I came up. They're just not good. There's no place for these heroes. We can do some fun stuff with them maybe at late game if you just want to experiment and try to make something cool happen. Or if you've tested something and you think it's really amazing, let me know. We'll get a video out on this. But currently, I would not use any chivalries on these heroes. It is not worth it. And I wouldn't use any of your talismans to level up their passives. They're just not good heroes. There's really no place for them currently, and the ones that do damage just don't pull off the damage we need. That's it for the rares. Let me know your thoughts on all these chivalries and passives down below. Give Marvel Strike Force a try. That link will be down below as well. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Appreciate your time, your love, your support. I will see you all in a video soon.